Welcome. So this Hangout is live on air, and before we start, I'd like you to ask your questions, put them in the side panel here. I am really new to Google Hangouts for groups, and so you'll have to bear with me as I work my way through this broadcast. So we've come here today, and one of the things that my mentors have always said to us as a group is jump and build your wings on the way down. And I love that. So that's what I'm doing here today. I would like to reach as many people with the content that I'm about to present in a free session. I'm also a certified John Maxwell Coach, trainer, and speaker. And I've had a lot of achievements in that I've gone from a full-time job into my own business, Native Studio Art, and building curriculum and lesson planning content for the Cultural Institute. And part of the research is sampling out places like this to see if I would like to use them on a continual basis, whether they're good or whether they're not. And I guess that's a part of become a leadership as an entrepreneur in this industry. We all know that probably have maybe 3 minutes or less of your time before you log off, or also answering all those questions that you might have. And so what I've decided is that one of the areas that I'm licensed to teach is the 21 Irrefutable Laws by John C. Maxwell. And you'll have to mind me as I sort of look back and forth from my my notes here. I've wrote some of the things that would trigger my ideas in terms of the 3 laws that I bring to you today. So on a fly, I decided that we will cover 30 minutes, and so we're well into 4 of those. 3 laws in quick introduction to law of the lid, potential, and influence. Now, for some reason, if you have a question and I don't get to it right away, you can email me at Gwetin, G as in goat, W, E, T as in talk, I, N as in nod, at yahoo.ca. One more time, G, W, E, T-I-N at yahoo.ca. Okay, so 30 minutes, and the topic that I would like to start off with is, those teachable skills. And so leadership is a teachable skill. We all have leadership potential inside of us, and some leadership is predictable. And what John C. Maxwell has done when we talk about predictable is he's created 21 laws for us to follow and to improve ourselves. And some of us may struggle to understand and learn those laws. And when we struggle and we don't learn them then, and we're leading, whether it's in a group or in a business, what we discover is that some things can really go terribly wrong. Excuse me. And a lot of us, and I found myself in managing classrooms and students, that a leadership role can mean many things. And so the core leadership philosophy that I'm going to talk about today is the key concepts. So there's 3 key concepts of the 21 laws that I chose to be here today with you. And just to let you know that a little bit about John C. Maxwell, as he sold around 20 million copies of his book, and he's the number 1 leadership guru. And he's probably has the best string of leadership books on the shelf. And the 21 Laws are probably one of his best books. And I think that for those reasons, it's not just about writing a book. It's also that John also practices his 21 irrefutable laws within his daily life, personally and professionally. And so he believes in while writing it, he walks it. So he walks the talk, if you've ever heard that term before. And I admire that. That is incredible. And you can see it in his influence with all the various books, but not just the books, because I was just in a live training last year with 2,500 people from all over the world becoming certified as a John Maxwell member. Pretty exciting, pretty incredible experience. But I won't talk too much about that because I'll get way-sided here. So leadership, so let's talk a little bit about leadership. Leadership encompasses far more than most people initially think. It starts with leadership of self. And so that's really important when we think of leading others. Then it goes into leadership as a whole in terms of business to business, right? And so we see that we're all born with a certain talent or gift, and it's really about taking those gifts and getting the same results and strengthening those. And we also have within us characters or behaviors that can be strengthened. And when we have those ways of being, sometimes that's the very thing that may jeopardize our project or our connections with people. And so, you know, it's really good to think about having a talent or a gift. And then if we have a weakness, we can use our strengths to initiate strength in other areas, if that makes sense. And so, do you know any talented people who don't seem to get the results that they deserve? Of course you do, and probably you know that successful people don't seem to lack talent, right? And we wonder exactly what it is that helped them or what they're doing to improve on their talents in that specific area or expertise. Talent is given, and we also have to earn success. So we must earn that success, and how we do that is by developing ourselves. And as we know, John C. Maxwell, well, it may be new to you, but the favorite quote most of us have is, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." And so let's take a look at, we had a little bit about leadership. Some of you might even look at leadership as role modeling. Or like you have somebody in your community who's ahead of everything, and they tend to lead or have a lot of influence with you. They're very charismatic. They know how to navigate. Navigate means they know exactly how to direct you. They're kind, strong-willed, all these kind of wonderful, that's part of talent, right? And so we're going to look at the first one, law of the lid. And we also know that with law of the lid, basically if you took yourself in a specific area from 1 to 5, I mean 5 is where we all want to be, but 0 is sort of at the bottom of the staircase, and number 5 is expertise. Expertise as in all those wonderful areas of communication, direction, facilitation, organizing, and I could go on. I'm sure you could come up with some areas. But if you just start at a job or in a profession or maybe even an art project, I'm an artist at my heart. And so if I start on a new project, I might be really not too sure about how that's going to start. I'd be a 1. Okay, some of us go along and we get some more training or whatever it may take. We step up, and maybe a few years have passed and we're getting really, really good at this, is the number 2, right? Number 3, and then we go up the scales for whatever growth and development that you've sought out, whether for professional purposes or personal, right? And so that also, each time you go up on that scale, what you're going to do is that if you're teaching, for example, an art, you may be a learner at bottom 1, at number 1, and number 2, you decide that this is interesting. I love, let's take, for example, carving, porcupine quill work, or fine art and design, managing accounting books. I'm just going off the top of my head right now. You might want to take a course. So then you seek out a course, you meet the people, the various people, whether they be facilitators, instructors, business people. That gets you up to, say, after a while, you're on a level 3, you're connecting with business people, and now you decide that you've taken this course, you want to teach it, and then you know that your personal development, say, for example, communication, you need to know how to ask better questions, or how to become influential yourself, what it takes, what kind of characteristics do I need. You may seek out some ways of some more courses, of some more people to help you develop those personal attributes and professionally align yourself with the people that you're going to work with. Eventually, when you get to 5, you become responsible for all those key areas that you just covered. And so you can expertly speak upon those topics or issues, as well as, guide people, because you're going to not be managing or micromanaging, which is more at the bottom levels, because you trust your staff or you trust your project leads. This is going to increase your influence because of that trust and that honor and all that extra effort to get there, right? And so we have the 5. And so when you think about these kinds of things, whatever your leadership skills are at that, where you start, is you can better your influence by making that walk to the top, whatever it takes, right? Think about how most people get leadership positions. A lot of times, people get leadership positions given a seat in a business, and they haven't had much experience. They might be, and pardon me, you come from a bachelor's, yes, you have experience, you've got a master's, new in the whole, and I've been there. Totally new. For example, I was new in program director, right? And I hadn't quite, I had all the book knowledge. I made the research papers, the theses, met people, but hadn't had that opportunity to actually connect it in a way that was in live, in a program or in a classroom and anything like that. And so when I did, that took some, like I'm doing today here. It takes some experience, right? It takes some hours. It takes that fail forwards. In John Maxwell, I just love his books about fail forward, excuse me, because there's no such thing as a mistake. I know that when I teach how to do the knots on how to do the weaving on a dream catcher, I could tell you like a lot of different, I'll look at you and I'll tell you a lot of different ways of how not to do that. And sometimes I have to zip up because it's your learning, right? You haven't quite learned why you don't do it that specific way. I've had to learn that by myself. The hours and hours that I spent, not just on the floor in a classroom teaching, but also practicing at home and getting good, right? That's what I'm doing right now. It's a little rough, but I'm going to continue to practice and get better. And then I'm going to learn from the experience about what's not better. What can I tweak, right? Melissa West is one of my mentors, and she always talks about what can be tweaked, what could be better. And I really admire that, because that's what would have happened for me when I come off of this call today. And so the law of the lid are all about those things that get you from here to there. And if you're in the middle of 3, you can always raise the level of your lid, right? But your lid will never ever be greater than, if you're a 3, never ever greater than a 4. So what do you do to entice that and increase it, right? And so that's all about choice. I'm wondering how many of you know what I'm talking about. And you know, when we talk about management, for example, or leading, what's the difference between managing and leading if you're looking at level 1 and level 5? I have a favorite term called micromanaging. And so micromanaging to me is here, and leadership is here. And the reason why I say micromanaging when we're managing a team of people is because we set out with the best of our hearts. And I'm being an instructor in a classroom. I give my students an assignment, but yet for some reason, after I've given them an assignment and I've given them all the instructions, I'm going to check up on them. And then I'm going to check up on them again. And then I'm going to, when I'm being asked a question, rather than asking a question that's open-ended, which requires the student to think about what it is that they're doing, I might answer that question for them and throw some more at them. And then I'll turn around and I'll change what I just said. And then maybe there's a task that was given, but in my unorganized thinking, I've given them another piece to go with that piece. Oh, that's not enough, maybe that. And the next thing you know, the only one that's learning in the classroom would be me. And it takes a brave heart to come online and say something like that. But in my year 1 or 2, that's exactly what I was doing. And I was wondering why the students wanted to hang me. And when I went back, and I've always done that, I've gone back in my lesson plan and asked what went well and what didn't go well. And I'd have to take a really deep look and go, okay, well, you know, that didn't work. The next time, the technique that I'm going to show them will be, because I'm in fine arts and design and traditional and contemporary arts, I'm going to change that so that they're doing the learning and I'm not controlling the classroom. And so through the various years, and I'm still learning, through the various years, and I've been on the floor for over 10 years, I can say that I am strengthening my lead by embracing leadership training, and also accepting the fact that my peers, or the people that I work with, they're all friends of the John Maxwell family, that they could come in and in an accountability call, or during my coaching sessions, because I too have a coach. I want to get good. I want to help you achieve your dreams, just like I have. And so that's the law of the lid. Now, potential. Do you know the Maslow's hierarchy? Okay, by Abraham Maslow. This is something that I learned in class, and it's those 5 levels. And it's recognizing that people are either on psychological, the need for food or water, a house, a job, which is safety. You need to be secure in your neighborhood, love and belonging. Okay, that's my favorite. Friendship. But when we're leading, we also can also connect to people where there's a love and belonging, right? Achievement is a self-esteem, right? What we do is, when I'm talking about walking in power, it's raising that bar on self-confidence and self-esteem. If I'm not doing that for myself, then how in the classroom, or how in my curriculum, excuse me, say that about 10 times, but how's that going to look? I don't know. I'm going to have a lot more people really upset, right? I've got to walk alongside of them. And I just love this John Maxwell, right? At the top of it's creativity. So when you think about being a good leader, you're going to have 5. You're going to have them at the top of this pyramid. They're going to be a 5. They're going to be so full of creativity. Oh, that was an aha moment for me this morning when I was looking at these notes. I was thinking, and that's artistic, right? And that's why I was talking about my main thing is arts and leadership. They're both of the same things. They hold hands. We have a business. We have a lot of very creative and industrious people. They're not just people. They're like friends of a family of that company. And we're all just like cogs enabling the run of that whole, we're all doing it together. And so that's what you can tell where my sweet spot's coming when I think about, and it's one of my mentors, he talks about sweet spot. When I begin to talk and I talk about people and what I've seen in my classrooms, I get excited because I want what I wanted for years for you that I've achieved in my life. Only through some really hard work, but it's really worth it anyway. So Maslow's hierarchy reminds me of the infinite potential that we have with our talents and our gifts. And when we think about talents and gifts, it's back to that law of lid. And influence, it's really, I've kind of touched on that ladder going straight up. The more influential you become, the higher up that ladder you get. To become influential, I'm wondering if you know exactly what needs to happen before you have influence. I know I do. I'm a brand new business and I'm a small business. It feels like, I bet you know that one if you're a small business person with a new idea, you're entrepreneurial. And so most people will look at you with your new idea and go, okay, can you describe what you do? Okay, so part of my influence is getting out my elevator pitch and talking about within 45 seconds what it is that I do. And it's not just that. Really, it's about trust, winning people's trust, right? And I know this one for myself too. I get bombarded daily. I mean, I daily with Google Plus or whoever it is in the businesses for my, for my dollars in terms of marketing the business. But I don't trust them yet. I just like, who are you? And I'm not being negative here because this is me as a new business. So if I come at you in the same way, you're going to like click me off within 4 seconds. That's okay. I'm learning how to connect, and I've enjoyed this time here today with you. And I would like to really, I want to walk beside you. And I really would like you, if you have a question, you can send it to that email address. And even more, you should, if you want to stay connected, down below here, and I'm sure I can do this on Google or YouTube, is I'm going to put my newsletter subscribe. Go ahead, yes, you could describe, because the other thing with the arts and leadership that I'm doing here is I help creative people walk in their own power, and how I do that and how I have done that. And I'm quite passionate about not just the Aboriginal traditional arts, but all cultural arts. There's a foundation to learn within the leadership aspect and how to present yourself as an artist. Sometimes galleries, and this is a question I ask myself too, is gallery representation the main thing that I seek? Is that what gets me really, really going? And I'll say no. When I examined it and I asked, what is my why and what is really important to me? My why stemmed back from years ago. My why is about helping people. When I get passionate, when I get on fire, it's just like right now. When I become almost speechless, it's when I'm working with you. It's when I see the lights go on, it's when we're doing a project together, or when I'm presenting material. And I guarantee I give that 100% plus when we're together. Anyways, so that's enough for me, but yes, just got a little sidetracked on the newsletter there. The leadership, I have some leadership, history, cultural, artistic tips, techniques, and skills. And then you can learn about Train the Trainer series, because I actually certify artists, creative people, to walk in their own power through a series of this kinds of course things. Okay, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, and this has been absolutely great. And I want you to take away this wonderful energy and, be you. Bye-bye now.